Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough and look at Hearts of Iron 4 La Resistance. Now, a couple of things we want to do right off the bat. We want to come over here. We want to... Have you ever heard me complain about... state mechanics before? Do you want me to do a rant on that? I could do a rant on that. Okay, an airbase. We want to do an airbase here, and we're going to +1 it, and let's move it up. Yeah, I should just did it to the top. Okay, and so I really do sort of hate the state mechanics. Airbase. Okay, come over here. Let's form a scout plane squadron. We will do 20 planes. I don't know if that's enough. We will do that there. We will come over here and form another scout plane squadron. And once this is deployed, we're going to put them up over here. And with air recon as their goal over here. And these guys back here. Once they're deployed, they're going to go air recon over Western Poland to get more intel on what is going on and who's behind the yellow here. We can look over there. Cali Commuter, how you doing? You always say push the wrong button. Yep. So, we're going to do some reconnaissance once we get the airbase built here. We'll do some reconnaissance more over France. Now, also, again, as we're looking at here, we have two operations that are prepared. One is stalled because we had one of our agents arrested. We have a rescue captured operative operation here, but this guy should have been Scorzini, but he was already on a different one, and I didn't want to do that, so this may fail and may make everything collapse. But we will see how that goes. Now, I could see how, because obviously there was a lot more operations going on. There were ongoing operations, various types in Spain, in France. No, in every country would be a wrong statement, but they were going on in many countries in this region, and all simultaneously. Trying to manage all of them could be a bit of a problem, so don't know. Okay. Yeah, we're going to, just because we do the historical thing here mostly, use Czechoslovakian gold to reduce the cost of MIFO bills. Right. Partition Czechoslovakia with that. We'll do this. Really, Slovakia doesn't really add much to the game either way, meaning if we got this to Germany, it's not much manpower, it's not much stuff even to Slovakia, to Hungary. Yeah, be a few civilian factories, a couple military. They did get down here, which I guess, oh, well, we're not seeing what's over there now. Put the squeeze on them, yeah, I guess so. So that now opens up more factories just by one, I guess. I thought we would get more military factories here. Well, we did get a lot of factories. Okay, I don't entirely get 70 days for the anti-Comintern Pact, Danziger War, Second Vienna Awards, demand Slovakia. I think some of their, I don't know, I'd love to hear your feedback, but I think some of their let this go for a little bit. Fate of Czechoslovakia, okay. Is a bit... Oh, how do I put this? Time to get through their tree is a bit much. Anti-tank. No, yeah, anti-tank. I want to make sure I can shoot at tanks well enough. Yeah, we can do some anti-air too. We're not, and we need more tungsten IC. Why do we need more tungsten? I don't know. Soviet Union, okay. And hello, Tippett. How you doing? Harry, if he's talking about what we don't really want to go get demonetized for, yeah, Ari, who's isolated in from the rest of the world, yeah, that's a thing. Okay, let's do a little bit of organization here. Let's create a army group, and I hate their color choices. God, why do you even have this on your color palette? Why do you even have this on your color palette? Well, I like some of what they're doing here. Entry officer, old guard, armored officer. I'm just sort of looking at some of these guys, what they're thinking of them. They're really a lot better than the early days. There we go. So he's watching the border there. Let's add these guys here. You come down there. You're watching there. You come up to here. You come to here. You come up to there. Okay, we're going to move all of you over to here. And we're going to form another army. That's what these really sort of are armies. And again, I hate this color palette option. Yeah, we can do that. So we have a mildly decent group there. And Marcus, why do you hate states? Okay, oh boy, Americans with their geography knowledge. Imagination. Okay, I hate the states mechanics on many levels, but the idea that you have a state, well, let's click here. You can only have, this is the current, you can only have one airbase in all of this, and I can't pick where I want it. So if I was the British and go, well, I want an airbase way up here to be able to reach deep into Italy, Italian controlled territory, obviously, not Italy the country, but Italian controlled territory. I can't build it up here. I can't specify it. I don't know where it's going to appear. And if I want to make sure that it's back here ways, because I'm gonna, think this is going to go back and forth at the front, so I wanted it back to the rear, I can't stick it here. And so I can't target an airbase. Now, this was actually fairly decent for targeting the North Sea, which is sort of what it would be, but I can't just like stick an airbase there to sort of try to push up to there. Or with radar, I can't specify, and which in if you're talking some of these smaller states, as like parts of the Netherlands here, yeah, where the airbase is, where the radar is, it probably doesn't matter. Though where it does matter is if I have one airbase in this state that's level 10, or 10 level 1 air bases and spread all around, well, if it's the one airbase that's level 10 and the enemy capture that particular province, I lose all the air bases. But if it just happens to be they take it by a parachute, say, but I control the rest of the states in the province, I can't have any air bases there. So again, it might not be a big deal in Europe because you just use air bases in some of these other states if you had them. But when we're talking some of these big sort of super provinces, and it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be in other parts of the world, it can mean like, well, hey, yeah, you have the one air base here, you can't, get anywhere. So that is just part of the reason why I hate the state's mechanics. The Netherlands are pretty much just flat, and Norway is just mountains and forests. Yes, that is generally true. Yeah, I want it to be much more like, I would just remove the state mechanic in its total. You can also look at crazy states. Crazy states. Let's see, what? Now, that is actually a political geographical location because that becomes a GAU once Germany takes it over the state, and it actually does include, I think, that bit too. So that is a political organization, but it is sort of crazy that it's a state. And so, yeah, an airbase saying it doesn't really matter, but I can't give because this is a state here. Why is this a state here? Because these two provinces, it really was just sort of like one province or whatever, but in the game mechanics, there's these two provinces here that start out the game as Czechoslovak, but they have a Polish majority, or at least strong minority. I don't exactly know the demographics, but it was heavy Polish. Goes over to Poland, so this is its own little state. But the Free City of Danzig, this one province, should be its own state, and this should be a different state, should it? And so, I can't just go, oh, Danzig to Germany, boom. Yeah, I know there are mods that create the Free City of Danzig, but that should, so I can't just somehow give a province over to it. This part here is, part of this is Tangier. That was a another free city here at the time that was its own sort of under the League of Nations free city situation, that on the day that Germans marched into Paris, Franco marches in and takes the free city of Tangiers. Of course, it doesn't make the headlines because the headlines that day in the world was Paris falling to the Germans. He timed it well and was noting the German movements towards Paris to try to sneakily grab up the little bit of territory. So you have this state of one province here of Gibraltar. Yeah, why isn't it part of this or this state? Because it's silly. It should be part of these states. But no, this is British controlled. But you can't have they can't just take one other province. So it's stupid. Comes down to it. Now, there are reasons that they do the states, and the main reason I would say is, I just want to click over here where we see it, is to limit the number of factory or industrial type slots, or silos or whatever else that might be built there, as opposed to other mechanics. But my answer to that is just give most of the industrial slots to particular provinces, like Stuttgart here, where you have the city, and maybe a few in Ulm, but other states just go, hey, no, there's not enough. You just don't have slots unless you do things to unlock them by building more and more infrastructure in that particular province. So it just makes, you know, some of these more agrarian provinces just sort of empty of industrial things, but Munich becomes the key. So you could do all of this mechanic without doing the sort of the maximum number of building of factories is more based on energy and Hearts of Iron 3 than it is on slots. I sort of like the idea of slots, but they should be done at the provincial level. Like I say, you know, hey, Gibraltar should have 0 industrial slots. Nothing, because it's just not enough to really make any level, including like fuel storage or whatever. Nothing here. But yeah, you can build anti-aircraft, you can build air bases, you can build radar, you know, that kind of stuff you can build up. So just sort of like how you would handle Gibraltar or handle some, you know, Malta. Now, I wouldn't let Malta have any. Oh, they have 1. Okay, well, maybe 1. It's bigger than Gibraltar. Gibraltar shouldn't have any. Which they have 0 unlocked. So, you know, okay, maybe they should have 1. And just do everything at the provincial level. Yeah, and so you have these odd situations here that don't match some of the political realities, because Slovenia definitely exists during World War II as a puppet state. Well, no, yeah, sort of, it does. Not as much as Croatia, really. But parts of this territory get taken over by Italy. Parts of the territory get taken over by Germany, annexed. And so you need to be able to divide it up. Now, you're never really going to get all of the, you know, provinces match exactly borders and whatnot. Yeah, that's fine. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for a reasonable situation. So if I wanted to say, have the situation in which I wanted to give a corridor to Germany, from Germany to the Mediterranean, like I like to do in Hearts of Iron 3, I don't want to have to give this whole Dalmatian coast to Germany. I just want to maybe give this province to Germany, and they can then have a port here. And so, yeah, I am very much on a anti-state bias, and so I would just simply make every province a state, and I'm not going to mod it all in. It's very moddable to do, because you can have every province a one, or every state a one state province, and just do that. And that's how I would fix the situation at this point, because it sucks badly. Okay. Okay, there's some more of our factories that we've got from getting over Czechoslovakia in here. Okay, now that we've equipped everything, scout planes, fighter planes. We want to do more heavy fighters and more tactical bombers. Okay. Tactical bombers. And do we have... Yes. We want to do a little more of that. I'm going to do more scouting planes. And do we have my airbase created down here yet? No. Not yet. Okay. I thought moderators would go after people who post stuff in non-English language. Not actually do that. Czechland counts as occupied territory now. Check what your occupation. Oh, Czechland. Oh, they're saying it's occupied. Oh man, they've changed this on me. That's why I'm not getting it. It should not be occupied territory. because it was annexed, well, pseudo. Oh, I disagree with this. I disagree. Czechoslovakia. That's why it's. Yeah, no, I disagree with this. I would fully annex this. Oh. How do I put all this? Okay. First off, I want to say I've looked into this. I don't want to use the term studied it because that may presume that I've read a bunch of primary source documents in Czech or something. No, but I've looked into some of the stuff that's going on with. We'll call. And you often hear me pause when I'm talking about things. You know, what do I call this? Well, it depends on when and what I'm talking about. Is it Israel? Is it Palestine? Is it, you know, is it? This is Transjordan. You know, the far side of Jordan to transit Jordan, the Jordan River. You know what? You know, do I call? You know, is it the Palestinian Mandate? Is it, you know, and it has a lot of political and cultural and social stuff weighted in it, both in my view and other people's view. But you know. Right now it's Palestine because right now it's the British occupation of Greater Jordan, Jordan, and this is sort of Transjordan, and this is just sort of Jordan, and this is sort of the Palestinian part that they're dividing again the state mechanic up. You know, what do I call this? And so the occupation of Bohemia and Moravia, as we can see here, and those. Now, if I do, I don't know, Bohemian and, Moravian, or something, a different pronunciation in German, that would mean that I somehow, going with the German thing, but right now is occupied of these two territories. Okay, and so, yeah, Bohemian Moravia, as opposed to Czechoslovakia, as opposed to Czechoslovakia, as opposed to Czech or Czechia or the Czechs or whatever. Czechs are the people, I'm like right now. Now, Nazi ideology and Nazi policy was not one thing. You know, you can't just go, it was X, even with regards to Czechoslovakia, because there are conflicting policies, conflicting ideologies within the overall Nazi hierarchy, okay? And Hitler wanted it this way. Hitler likes conflict. Hitler believes that out of conflict comes strength. And so he wants competing ideas, competing organizations, competing personalities within his world. So almost anything I say, you can find some original source, person, document, whatever, that will contradict what I have to say now about this, because there was not a single program, and I'm not going to fully use the very loaded term, but there was not one single solution, as you can figure out the other, or the first part of that, with another problem that the Nazis saw. Not that I see as a problem, but the solution to this. So there isn't one. But generally speaking, most Nazi theorists would consider the Czech people reasonable racial stock. And again, I'm looking at their views. Anybody who wants to come along later Sounds like, what's the meme here? The evil Nazis. What's the U.S. doing today? Conflicts, wars, bomb. I don't know where you're going with that. Compliance levels. Okay, well, yes, Slovakia or Bohemia and Moravia had super high compliance levels. They just do. But so there was a plan, and they often talk about things in third, wanting a certain third maybe to die off, another third or more to be culturally assimilated into the German Gemeinschaft, and maybe using some of the others as settlers in the east out of Bohemian and Moravian, out of the Czechs. But the Czechs very much actively in an industrial sense cooperate and more with German occupation. The one area that I would not, and the way I would simply handle it as part of this fate of Czechoslovakia national focus / the events triggered it, is just simply reduce the manpower. That, because they do. Okay, when the Germans took over, everybody gets categorized. Germans like categories. I'm sorry if I'm missing some of the chat here. Is that to some degree you can state who or what you are, how you, in the modern terms, how you identify. And so when the Germans roll in and start going through the stuff, if you want to say, hey, I'm German, hey, I'm Deutsch, and they're going to, look at you and go, because there were still at they start as part of the Austrian and then later the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they probably, because definitely the Sudeten Germans in the mountains predate, German occupation goes back to before Austrian control of the region. But definitely with Prague as a city, I don't know about, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, or like in Brno, some of the major cities, I'm not saying it isn't a thing, I just don't know of Germans living there before that. But definitely as part of the Austrian and then later Austro-Hungarian Empire, there is a significant amount of often middle class, often sort of, a sort of middling level of bureaucrat and officials that are moving there that are Germans, shall we say. Yes, they speak Germans or whatever. So the Nazis has come into, and they often marry amongst themselves. Now it's not. It's just more of a cultural thing, I would say, than any sort of racial thing. So it's nothing like Nazi purity or that kind of bullshit. But so the Germans are quite. Oh, you're a German. Oh, great, good. Yay! I mean, it's like hooray! As you're coming into the offices and getting your paperwork. Oh yeah, you're German, and they'll then start speaking to you in German, and if you start speaking back to them in German, and Germany at this time still does, but even much more so than today, have all these different local sub languages around Germany, both written and spoken, and Lum can, I'm sure, attest to that. Though he's not German, he's Swiss, but he speaks German. So he hears the differences in the types of languages, but I know back then it was even more pronounced. So yeah, you may have to the, the sort of German occupation official sent from Berlin, but he may be sort of sent from Berlin, but he may have originate from like Munich or Nuremberg. So the accents may be funny, but they'll know if they're like actually speak German. And so, okay, you've declared yourself as German, trying to do the rubber stamp kind of thing, and you get your paperwork stamped that you're German. Yay, great. Okay, good. Now, that isn't going to do for something like SS classifications. If you're racially pure and all this stuff, you got to come up with a lot more documents. But your standard National Socialist official, yay, great, you're German. Okay, well, now you're German. There's a draft on. So if you're a male of the right age, you're going to go and be, in the army. Or if you're a woman, women, get forced into various labor things in Germany if you're not doing other things already. There's lots of stuff, and that can be its whole talk on itself. So now you have the responsibility of German citizenship. This, as a time goes, and bites people in the ass. Now, of course, it bites people in the ass later on as the Germans are losing and they wish they hadn't declared themselves. And these people that declare themselves Germany are not always maybe so German, meaning they're just Czechs that speak German and think it might be a better deal. Because there are a lot of Czechs, particularly in Prague. My understanding is that the sort of elite language in Prague was German, not Czech, at this time. And it wasn't really until the German pressure, and I mean at this time in the interwar period, till there was really the pressure by Germany, speaking German commonly in public goes out of fashion at that point, and only at that point. It was the fashionable language to speak was German. Sort of like I would say, again, the modern fashionable language to speak is English. Hence you're all here from different parts of the world speaking English. And other people who claim to speak English but don't. Like Ari, no, I'm teasing, but his very, and those, I'm sort of teasing him, and he knows. I mean, it's definitely accented, but it's not, it's not a lot of. I've heard a lot more accents in England that are harder to understand, but not speaking like the Queen's English or Midwestern English in America, or like newscaster English or whatever you want to call it. Sort of varieties of English, and not just in pronunciation, but in word use and whatnot. And so, sort of the fashionable languages. So the fashionable language in Prague, I'm specifying Prague and not Bohemia or all of the Czechia, was German. And so when Germany rolls in, industry very much embraces working for the Germans. To my knowledge, very few of the technical specialists get out of Czechoslovakia. I'm not saying none do, but to my knowledge, very few of them do. And I hope you're interested in all of this, people watching now and watching later. Over here, in this, because this is one of Eastern Sudeten. Over here is where Tatra is located, the truck company. They make very, very good trucks and rather decent cars, especially at this time period, rather advanced. So they are, and I still don't know a lot, and their corporate website, at least the English-speaking part of it, doesn't talk very much about Sudeten Germans at all. But seeing as the majority of the people living in here were Sudeten Germans, I figure the majority of people working at Tatra were Sudeten Germans. I do not know about the ownership of the company. The owners, were they Czechs? Were they I mean, not Czech nationals as in did they have Czech passports, but did they see them as themselves as Sudeten Germans, or did they see themselves as Czechs? I don't know. So that is taken over. And oh, looky here, see how good this situation is. It has 3 slots. It has 1 military slot, and it has a major truck factory here. Yeah, this game isn't so so well balanced. But yeah, so Tatra Trucks is over here, and they actually, and I forget the models because I'm not good at numbers, developed some really good developments in automotive industry during the occupation period. So they, in like around 41, 42, a new sort of truck that the Germans use on limited use. And I think the main thing limiting Tatra trucks and their production is their availability of steel and rubber to a lesser degree, because it's allocated to, to Opel for the Blitz truck and some of the other ones that are more common use. But it's a rather advanced automotive system that was probably better than most of the German automotive trucks. They're mostly 6x4 trucks, as opposed to where most of the Germans were 4x4 trucks. Four-wheel drive versus the four wheels and back, but not the front-wheel drive. I don't know which is better for off-roading, but the Tatra trucks, some of them could be. They had a thing you put over the tires to turn it into a half-track kind of thing, not quite like the Molitor half-track trucks, but a more simple thing that goes back and forth. Just so if it's getting really muddy or really snowy, it's more than a tire change, but sort of like that to turn it into a bit of a half-track for that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's there. They do that. Bruno is the main arms arsenal. They produce massive amounts of small arms for Germany, a reasonable amount of artillery type arms for Germany. They actually develop the most advanced 105 millimeter howitzer for Germany during the war that just doesn't quite get into production because it's sort of completed in 45. Now, I don't know whether they stalled on the production or rushed on the development of the artillery pieces, but they were definitely developing stuff for the Germans actively. I have heard that the Skoda team that is working on the 38T tanks and their derivations supposedly made, and I've recently heard this, but without any accreditation, supposedly made design problems for the Hetzer tank, or whatever you want to call it, Hetzer tank destroyer, that the Germans never noticed and was sort of sabotage the situation. And I'm going, what? They're making this assertion, and I don't know of a I know what the Hetzer is very well, but I don't know it mechanically. I don't know what they're talking about. What design problems that made it a coffin for German soldiers or something. I mean, there's limitations with what they were working with, but so I really see the Czechs as going wholeheartedly into industrial collaboration with Germany, and anything else I think is entirely wrong. So I would just handle the manpower shift here. I would just massively drop the recruitable population down. Very much so. And what's everybody? Don't forget to start the war in time, or else you get an event that the Soviets invade Poland again. Okay, thank you for that, Arno. Yeah, I'm trying to explain what is sort of going on in this time period, culturally and socially. So yeah, and the Slovaks wholeheartedly support the situation, I would say. Yeah, I don't know. Game developers get in love with their mechanics. Okay, yeah, I know we haven't played much of this. They're still at sea. I've been talking a lot. Sorry, guys. Hope it's interesting.
Angetreten. Ihre Befehle?
What the hell? are these guys? What are they doing in my general lineup? To me, that looks like a Hungarian uniform. It's definitely not a German uniform. That's definitely not a German uniform. I don't know the officer's hat there. Nothing a German ever used. Are these, like, Czechs that somehow got dumped into my lineup and are using... This could be Czech uniforms. I don't know them well enough. But somehow we got... Somehow they give us Czech generals now? Oh, God. Okay, and yeah, Arno, I don't know, because maybe you know something I don't. You're talking about invading Poland all the time. Well, we have not done, and this is sort of what I'm looking at here. We have the West Wall. We have not done the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact, so I don't think we're going to have an invasion of Poland until we do that. Now, if we do, that's going to be game broken. Declaration by me. But I do. I think we're looking at a 1940 sometime invasion of Poland in a very realistic sense. Okay, we're gonna give you again. I hate this goddamn color. I like the idea that, I mean, we can do different symbols, which are cool. We'll just give them both here, of course. And whatnot. Okay. Infantry officer, old guard. Okay. Hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate that. So now we have, and we're going to change this color. Well, it's sort of panzer pink. Not really. Okay, that's going to be Guderian's group. Select all. Let's put them on trains and come down here. Yeah, we'll give it to Rommel. Do we have a desert tan or something? Yeah, not really. Here we go. Desert tan for Rommel. Not sure we're even sending him to the desert, but definitely not at the moment. There we go. Get them under that. We have our sort of West Wall army, but we don't have air defense zones in the east. You guys just head up here for now. Austrian army, because we are going to go to war at some point here. Though do remember this series is primarily looking at intel. Okay, we're going to create another group. Let's do 30 planes. I don't know the size, what specifically they should be. And you're going to deploy over northern France for that. And let's come over here and do another squadron. 20. You're going to deploy over Eastern Poland and do spy missions there. And what's this? Yes, you can. Then break it. Wait already. You might. What are we sharing food? Okay, I don't know. You guys are ranting on about things. Cool. I just can't follow it all and try to play, and it's cool that you guys do. Trust me, I do think so. Okay, we want to. Okay, I've never had a success in doing it. And, we're gonna convert you over to Alpenjäger divisions. The Austrian just starts out slightly better than the German. Oh, and we should probably change. Oh yeah, let's do that. Now that we have Austria, let's deploy this, cancel that. Okay, that's already Alpenjäger. Oh, I want this, and I think it's going to be this guy. He probably is. No, he... no, he already is. Okay, so these are our... Oh, they... Yeah. Okay, now. Do we have Dietl yet? He's alright. Where's Dietl? No Dietl. No Dietl. Okay. I'll give it to Heil. Do we have a more white? There we go. White for mountain winter type troops. Sort of a gray, but that's cool. Okay, did we convert him over? Yeah. What's the significant Gamers 45? The year 1745, yes. There was a Jacobite, Scottish Jacobite Highland uprising in 1745. Yep, that's already there, and you'll join that crew. Yes, how are my operations? Okay, we still have not completed the... It's in progress. And what happened to my blueprints? You mean we gotta go back to restarting the whole preparing thing? Oh god. This is taking way too long. Oh yeah, I was also born back then. Yeah. See, I thought about originally just doing Gamer 45, but people might either think that, hey, he's just 45 years old, or hey, it's the 1940 or the 45 caliber pistol. Now I wanted to make sure you all knew that I was born in 1745. Yeah, that's it. You got that. I'm not liking that. I hope some good modders will change the Bohemian Moravia situation. I will definitely agree that it isn't entirely the same as other parts of Germany, but Now, one of the reasons, I'm sure there's multiple reasons for everything and it varies, but one of the reasons Czechoslovakia, or Bohemia Moravia specifically, should be much more integratable into Germany is because it was very much in living memory, not for the 18-year-old person that's drafted into some army or whatnot, but for everybody else. That was all part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They were used to having, if you will, German overlords. Now, their ethnicity definitely determined a lot of things in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That is very correct. But it wasn't the idea, and the Habsburgs definitely didn't have the idea that it should be the Germans oppressing other peoples or anything like that. But probably you needed to be of the right ethnicity to one degree or another to rise high in imperial status, shall we say, because it's not necessarily within the government, but within things. So we're looking at with that, and Hitler's an Austrian. He hates Austria, though, but the Austrian Empire, particularly, I should say, not Austria the land or Austria the people, but Austrian Empire. He hates that. He wants a unified German thing, and not multinational empire. But so yeah, it's not like foreigners taking over foreign land. It was already integrated in them once. It was developed as an integrated part of it. It's just coming back to it. And similarly with this territory over here, this was, and even down into here, was not this part. It is, again, the state mechanic. I think Krakow was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire, wasn't it? Or was it the German Empire? I'm pretty sure it was not part of Russia, but I could be wrong. I don't know. And again here, now this, yeah, why you have this now? It may be in right to here. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure I'm wrong on some of this, but this here was part of the German Empire. And a lot of the Polish farmers sort of kind of welcomed back the Germans. Not that they weren't nationalistic, but things hadn't been going well under Polish administration. And it wasn't like, oh God, the evil Germans are back. It was, oh hey, yeah, good administration. Now as they start to see, and it starts happening very quickly, within months, Poles thrown off there, and Poles that have been there for generations, not just Poles that were, recently, because we talked about, there was definitely a move by the Polish government to drive the German peoples out of Poland. It wasn't nearly as brutal or anything that the Germans did, but it was definitely a program to do so, policies to do so. So it wasn't just in situations in where you had somebody, even if they sold up, because a lot of it I think was selling up their farm and then moving to Germany, a German farmer living in what is now Polish territory selling up, and then a Pole buying it. It wasn't even a case of them being kicked off to then put the original owners back on, back into the territory. It was kicking out farms that had been, in one fashion or another, generationally run by, sometimes maybe part of great German estates, but Poles had been living there and farming there for a long time, and that does start very quickly to piss the Poles off from the from German occupation. So it isn't just, oh, good management, good civil management that we're getting back. That, generally speaking, I think was better than the Polish management style, but it was an anti-Polish policies that were happening that really started pissing people off. If you were able to take over England, would that free your spy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that would be right back. Yeah. Go kick someone's ass. Okay. Are we traveling to India or something now? I'm not following all this. New ones. New ones, but they're all the same. I'm just ranting the same. And so, like, I'm a little more interested. Okay, we have... Oh, new artillery. That's right. Okay. So what we want to do, come up here in... Because we have enough artillery, so switching over to better artillery will disrupt our production a bit. Well, we will fix that a little bit by... Well, I don't know if fixing is the right term. But I want to see how my spy operation goes. Come on, in progress. Well, we're going to have to wait till next episode. Those of you live, we'll keep going, but we're going to have to wait till next episode to see if we can rescue our agent. I know I've been talking too much.